started, I enjoyed fishing, but then I fell. Oh,
Good afternoon. A little bit smaller crowd today. I hope everybody on Zoom can hear. I'm going to try to speak as loud as I can. Probably overpower the room a little bit. Anybody that's on Zoom, we would request that you turn your cameras off. Obviously, with your we've got you on mute at this point, but it makes it easier for the folks here in the room to see the board members up in the front. So, good afternoon and welcome again. This is the second session. I think everybody in the room here knows who I am, so I'm not going to go through that. Today's meeting is an informational session required under the protocols and publication guidelines for the Florida water project. Its purpose is to ensure we remain on track to submit our funding application in time for the August review cycle. Any delays in this stage would delay us a year. So we really want to move forward on this if we can. As I said before, we've got this on Zoom, so people that are not here in the room or snowbirds can still participate. A recording of this session will be on the website, just like the last one was. I'll put it on the same page under the Jamaica Bay website under the water project. Be careful though, because we ran into some problems. The download kind of overloaded the server, so if you don't get it the first try, check back later and it should be there. Our potable water system continues to experience several issues, particularly with frequent line breakages that have required costly repairs exceeding over $200,000 over the last 2 to 3 years. Two additional concerns have added to further justification for the project. We recently discovered, due to a Palm Beach Utilities, Boynton Beach Utilities, needed to check on the water meter down close to Weaver Canal, which is one of the two entrances for water into our community. During the investigation, during the replacement of that valve, they discovered there's no backflow preventer on that, as well as La Puma doesn't have one. So that adds additional justification for going ahead with the project. The installation for doing a backflow, when we did the one over by the office, was I think $26,000. This would probably be more because we have to not only just replace it, but we have to actually install it. We also have other issues of easement on La Poma that we have to work through. The other issue is the boil water notice. We have, after extensive engagement with the local authorities, Boynton Beach Utilities, Palm Beach County Health Department, the notice was issued last Friday due to the potential cross-contamination between the irrigation and potable water. The notice followed the standard wording provided by the County Health Department and was issued in an abundance of caution to protect our shareholders. The existing water infrastructure has seen virtually no investment since the 1980s, and it's clear we need to take this action now. As everyone is aware, in 2024, we transitioned from a for-profit to a not-for-profit corporation to allow us to qualify for grants. If you're a for-profit, the door gets closed in your face at step one. We're pursuing two different avenues. One is the U.S. Department of Agriculture. We've got partway through that, and it turns out we would have to invest in a significant amount of money to continue the engineering design work before we could even submit. So we're kind of putting that one on hold at this point. There is no reason we can't pick that up later. There is a possibility we can combine the Florida and USDA funding and aggregate it. To clarify, this session is strictly informational. We are not, and I'm going to repeat this twice, so I'm going to read this twice. We are not committing to make to any financial obligations, loans, or assessments at this stage. This current objective is simply to submit the application. If an offer is made, we will then review its terms and conditions before making any further actions. We may decide to go ahead with it, depending on the funding, or we may decide not to. But that is a later decision. This is strictly to submit the application. Immediately following this session, we will conduct a board meeting to consider adopting a resolution to proceed with the grant resolution, application. Again, this is a required step, and we only move forward with the application. No assessment, no loan commitment, and no financial commission obligation to proceed at this point. Is there any doubt about that from anybody? Okay. Grant funding has the potential for low interest loans and principal forgiveness, and that's what we're hoping for. We won't know that until the August timeframe when the funding committee moves there. We have the opportunity to fund this through grant funding, reserve funds, and possible at some future date, an increase in monthly assessments. The values for those assessments are contained in the plan that you saw previously. These numbers haven't changed, but again, those are various opportunities depending on the way we proceed or not at that future time. One other comment, I forgot to put it in my notes. There's been some rumors that we're talking about individual water meters in every house. Kill that rumor. That is absolutely false, and it is in the original plan, and it's continued in this plan. There's one master. Right now we have 2 master meters. Ideally, we will have one in the future. And the water is allocated across everybody. No meters, no individual homes. Okay, at this point, I'll introduce Daniel Magro from Atlas Engineering, who we've provided invaluable service to us so far, and we're going to continue, and he's open to questions that you might have. I will participate as well.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Daniel Magro. I'm with Atlas Engineering, and you may have, if you were here a couple of weeks ago, basically, can you hear me again? If you were here a couple of weeks ago, we had the first public meeting just to engage the public or the community, get their questions, answer questions, and so on. So today is the second of those meetings. A little bit of repetition from last time. Again, I was hired by the board to help find funding for this project. The project consists basically of replacing all the water mains within the community. As you know, the community buys bulk water from Boynton Beach and then redistributes it through their pipes to all the residents. So the ownership of those pipes is yours, and that's what the problem is. You know, they have reached their useful life for various reasons and other reasons. The project's been defined as basically replacing all the water mains. So as far as funding is concerned, when we were discussing it, we felt like the Florida State Revolving Fund it was a good fit for this type of project. They have a good program that we've used many times before. And what they do is they offer loans to communities at a low interest rate, anything much lower than what you can get at any commercial type bank. And often, depending on the project and the conditions and so on, you can get some of that principal forgiven. Anywhere from 0 to up to 90% forgiven. So essentially, kind of like a grant, when I think of it that way. With this project, we don't know what it will be. It's a competitive process. The state receives applications from all over the state, and there's a ranking system depending on the need for the project and the amount of funding that is available for every every session they have up in Tallahassee. So basically, we have to wait until the Tallahassee funding hearing, which happens. The next one is in August. Is when we're looking at. So what we're here today is to essentially adopt the facilities plan, which is a report that looks at all the alternatives to solve the problems that the water system has. It looks at the costs and some other things and makes recommendations on what to do. That's a necessary step in the application process. It's for the community to adopt the facilities plan, and that allows us to submit the application and then be considered for funding at the August funding hearing. The cost of the project is, we're estimated at about $13 million. There's $2 million in contingencies there. I've talked to contractors in the area, and the feedback that I've gotten is that that is sufficient. They're saying maybe it's a little bit high, which, it's a little conservative. If that's the case, which is good. It's better to have the funding secured for the project. If in the end, the project will cost what competitive bids for construction, you receive. So that will be the actual cost. So the hope is that you've had enough funding to cover that and to see the project through completion. The impact to the customers or the water users in this case, really great. It depends on the amount of funding that is given and how much principal forgiveness is awarded. Worst case, if there's zero principal forgiveness awarded and the cost of the project is the full $30 million, then that would be translate to $107 a month per connection, per home for the next 20 years. But if you get the maximum amount of principal forgiveness, that would be closer to like $17 a month per connection. So as you can see, there's a huge range, and you won't know what that is until two things happen. You know exactly how much principal forgiveness is awarded, and you know the actual cost of the project. So those things are still fluid at this time, and like Jack said, all we're doing at this point is just allowing the submittal of the application to see what kind of funding is awarded. So basically, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. From my point of view, if this is a project the community wants to pursue, you can fund it by one-time assessment, if you will. That will be a significant amount. Or you can go to commercial lending, which the interest rates would be significantly higher than anything you can get from the state revolving fund. Or you can apply for this program, and hopefully you can get some principal forgiveness grant, to bring down the overall cost of the project. So those are the options, and so what we're looking at today is just authorizing the submittal of the application. So with that, if you have any other questions, I know we answered a lot last time, but if you have any new ones, I'll be happy to answer them. Yes.
This is Hank. I'm at Antigua Bay. My question is, just popped in my head, has there any been, we're in unincorporated Boynton Beach and we receive water from incorporated Boynton Beach. Has there been any that you're aware of unincorporated receiving water from incorporated and converted to unincorporated water, in other words, from the county?
Has there been examples of?
Are you aware of any community like Jamaica Bay that has applied or tried to get county water as opposed to incorporated Boynton Beach water?
Well, as far as where you get your water, because it depends on who has pipes in front of your property. So usually it's only one utility. So it's not like you could switch from one utility to the other utility. In this case, Boynton Beach is the provider of water for the area. So you're basically, they're your water provider. You wouldn't be able to switch to another utility.
My question was, are you aware of any other community that's tried? Maybe they failed. I'm just curious.
No, I'm not aware of that. I mean,
okay.
Because usually in your area you have one utility and it's just not possible to switch utilities.
Are there no other questions?
Jack,
Yes.
can we resubmit this?
Let me take the microphone to you so we can hear you.
It's a simple question. Can we resubmit more than once? Can we resubmit this more than once?
Absolutely. If we fail this time around, we can do it again next cycle.
Takes a year?
They do it,
Yeah, so you can submit now, and then you'll be considered for funding at the August funding hearing. Up in Tallahassee, they have quarterly meetings where 4 times a year they meet. Only 2 of those 4 times they actually award principal forgiveness. So you would have to wait till the February one. But the problem is their funding cycle begins with the August meeting, and so that's when they have the most ample funding. So yes, you can be considered for all 4 meetings, but if you wait till the November one, you would only be awarded loan funding without principal forgiveness. So that's why the August is kind of like an important meeting, because it has the most funding and it has principal forgiveness.
On there, Jamaica Bay, Zone Bay. If we don't get any grants at all, are we guaranteed, if we apply for that low interest rate, are we guaranteed to go ahead with that?
Well, I don't want to say there are guarantees, because you never know, funding going to happen. But I would say that most likely you will qualify for a loan, at least a loan. I've had communities where they apply and it just so happens that it was a very competitive meeting and they didn't get awarded any loan or any principal forgiveness or anything, but they just be considered for the next one until it becomes available. So there's no really guarantees. I think the chances are good for loan funding.
And that low funding is from the state?
Yes.
Thanks.
What's the date that has to be submitted by?
The date that it has to be submitted by, the end of June, because we have to have everything in and approved 45 days before that funding hearing. So yeah, the day before, the end of June is when everything has to be approved. So I know we're coming up close to that. We're hoping they review it, as soon as we submit it. We've already submitted a draft, so they've had it for a while, but the outcome of this meeting is to make it into that report and be resubmitted again. So we're hoping to give them an extra month to review everything so that we do meet that deadline. Yes?
Yeah, who picks the contractors to do the work?
Who picks the contractors to do the work? So that will be a competitive process. You'll basically advertise in the paper and have contractors provide bids for construction work. And basically you can select the lowest bid.
What happens if the contractor just walks away after they start work?
If the contractor walks away during the work,
Yeah.
I mean, there's protections for that. You would have in your contract documents with the contractor, they would have bonding, some sort of bonds that would cover that scenario. Construction bonds essentially will cover that. It will pay for another contractor to come in.
At the same price?
I suppose so. I've never had that happen, so I'm not quite sure. But
It's always the first time.
yeah. Well, in theory, the construction bond is supposed to cover that scenario. That's what the contractors pay their bonding company to provide a bond, and that's one of the things after you select the contractor. It's one of the many contract documents that we'll have to have with us before we authorize them to proceed.
Yeah, because as you notice, the road out front been going on for years, and nothing's being done about that. That's why it's that way.
So we can't hear questions
No,
from the back.
he was asking about what happens if the contractor walks away during construction, and then he talked about another project down the road that's been going on for years. I'm familiar about that one.
And I've had several communications with the county commissioners and the head chief engineer for the county on that project. And it's been one delay after that. It's been at least 3 years I've been working on it. But they did have a surety bond, but I'm not sure they approached that in the right direction. So in my opinion, they've gone back to the surety company to fix it. And they finally gave up because they couldn't reach a negotiated agreement with the surety company, and they ended up funding it themselves and then go back and do it. That's a completely different. I'm sorry?
That was the example I wanted to bring
No,
up.
I understand, but typically any kind of construction project like this would have a surety bond or a construction bond that would cover those contingencies. And we do have contingencies in the estimated value to cover some of that, if that ever happens.
I almost forgot what I was gonna say. In that process of building, I think it was covered last meeting, we only give the contractor a certain amount of money when it's completed, because we have to submit that bill to the bank or the state, and then they release the funds to us to give to them. So if they even walked away, they're only walking away from a little portion of the money, and maybe they're walking away from money they really did work for. So, and then, like you said, they have bonds and stuff that would cover up for that.
For Daniel, I don't know if there's other questions. Sorry, can I just say something at the end and go ahead with questions? But it's your man.
I think we have 3 more questions, maybe. Go over here.
Sorry, Mike Burgess down Galena Bay. I asked this question last time, but I just want to reiterate it. When you keep using the word assessment. Assessment to me is basically a loan on your property, meaning when you sell your property, blah, blah, blah. Okay, because we're looking at like $25,500 based on the math that I did per the amount of shareholders. So that is only going to be an increase in your HOA, roughly $100 per month. And if you sell your property, it goes to the next buyer. Right. Okay, thank you.
Can you repeat that question too, Daniel? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the question was in regards to an assessment, or basically in our case, we would adjust the HOA or the maintenance fees to cover the additional if we end up going that route. Those would transfer to the new owner. So it's an ongoing, today it's $250 a month. Anybody that buys your property is going to pay $250 a month in the future until it gets adjusted for the next budget cycle. So it's not like somebody has to go ahead and pay their assessment for the next 20 years when they sell their house. That's not part of it.
Sorry, just actually, I'll throw one thing in there. Can you, if you can hear me? So I know that Daniel quoted a couple of, if we don't get anything, it's this amount added to your assessment fees. If we get a 90%, it's this. But we also, there's other things to take into consideration because we are putting away reserve funds. So even those, the whole thing is not going to instantly come to you because we will also have some reserve funds that you're already funding to be able to put on it as well. So that's why we don't have a clue what any kind of number, if there is any number, until we keep moving forward. And the other thing is we could get, whatever we get from SRF, then we can continue and go to USDA as well. So before we get to any construction, although the USDA, as Jack said, is we have to get into spending some money to even finish the application on their side. But there are lots of different ways, and we continually look at every source of funding for this. Our goal would be to have no impact financially. I'm not saying that's even possible, but that's what we're trying to do. So it's too early to have a clue if anybody should be worried about any assessment fees at this point. So I don't want to get stuck on that because we don't know what we're going to end up with, and it could be great news at the end of all this. But if we don't get started, we're never going to find out. So that's what this is about now. Sorry.
There was a question here earlier. Yep.
Yeah, there seems to be so many variables here. Is at any point the bank going to be put up for collateral on any of these loans?
So the question is, there's so many variables.
Yeah, well, we won't know this until then, we won't know that until this.
Right.
So there's so many variables. Is Jamaica Bay ever going to be put up for collateral for these loans?
Yes, so the question is about collateral for those loans. Yes, so the SRF does have a requirement for collateral that must cover 115% of the amount of the loan. So yes, that's something that will be required for the amount of the loan. We don't know what that will be essentially yet, just because we don't know.
Okay, so worst case scenario, if the loan gets defaulted, what happens to Jamaica Bay? Is it gone? Sold to the highest bidder?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean,
What do you mean the loan gets defaulted?
What do you mean? What do you mean the loan is full? Let's stop and do this one thing. We are preparing today to submit an application for funding. At some point in the future, after that meeting in August, we will have to make some hard decisions whether we proceed or not. That's not what this meeting is about. This meeting is, do we proceed to get some free money? How hard is that? That's the easy thing we're trying to do. If we have to go back and get a loan for $13 million mortgage to build, that's a completely different story to be answered at some future date. All we're trying to do today is to move forward with a grant application. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Anything else? Is there any other questions there, Jack? I just don't have one.
If there's no other questions, is there any questions from Joanne that you have from the Zoom call?
Sorry.
Are there any questions from the Zoom call, Joanne? Chat through the chat?
Yeah, I think a couple of things, but there, one thing that just came up, this is usually a holdback anyway till the project is completed, but the one other thing I wanted to say was, we keep getting asked, I guess, have we put cameras under the ground? Have we done this? I think the fact of the matter is we started this a few years ago now. These pipes were at that point 10 years past their prime, and that came up in our very first reserve study we did. So the fact that there's 1,000 holes, or there's been 10 huge holes, or the pipes are rotting, or it really doesn't make sense to put any more money into doing analysis. We could paralyze ourselves by doing so much analysis, but the leaks that are happening are all over the place. There's no trend to them. There's no pattern. Some are huge. Some take thousands of dollars to fix. Some are small, and our guys are able to do it. But it's nonstop. There is nothing that's going to, short of putting crazy glue through the pipes and hope it all sticks. There's nothing to be done. They're way past replacement. And everyone that we started with this at FRWA, the USDA, every engineer, the city of Boynton Beach, all the water experts, not us, we didn't determine it ourselves, plus the reserve study experts said, you are so far past these things functioning properly. And we know that because we're constantly repairing it. So I just wanted to make sure everybody gets that there's a lot of expertise that has been determining this. And yes, we didn't really spend a whole lot of time on option 1 and 2 because it would have been throwing good money away. There is no easy fix to this other than it has to be replaced. So, sorry, I just wanted to, because that keeps coming up that, we haven't really investigated everything enough. We're probably on year 3 as a board. The fact that, we haven't taken everybody and all the shareholders through everything we analyzed as we went through this. Because that doesn't make sense to do. But we're now at a point where we need to move forward, and that's when we come to everybody. So hopefully that clears some of the, have we looked at everything? Sorry.
Yeah, one thing I would add to that, Jim, we have 3 alternatives. One is do nothing, which is what has been done over the last, God knows how many years. Number 2 was to do some sort of a repair, but we're trying to go after the whole enchilada and see what we can get. We can step backwards from that in the future. If we don't get what we need, we can step back and look at other options. But this has to be the first place. This has to be the first option.
Does this include roads?
What, say again?
Does this include roads?
There is an estimate here for road. I don't remember the exact number. It's in the plan, but yes, that is covered.
Well,
Yes.
they should let these people know, the roads are gone too.
Well, the plan did do tail light on the first edition, plus it's still in there this time around. Okay?
Yeah, Jack, you said about getting free money, right? A little while ago, the money's free, that we're asking for?
When I say free money, I'm speaking kind of flippantly. I'm
Sorry, you didn't hear that.
I'm after some grant money that I don't have to pay back. Let's put it that way. Free money, you're not being a bit flippant.
But then why are we getting an assessment if it's, you ain't gotta pay it back?
Well, unfortunately, if we're asking for $13 million and we get 10, that $2 million that we have to come up with is a hell of a lot easier than coming up with all 13 if we just fold our tent today and say we're not going to proceed. I don't understand.
Jack, sir, Jack, we can't hear the question, so I don't know what you're answering.
Do you want to come up and repeat the question?
No, put the microphone
Or
back
just
on.
repeat it, that's okay.
The question was, I made a comment about free money. Well, the comment really was a flippant comment. I'm saying we're going after grant money that we don't have to pay back. That's really the point that I was trying to make. Take an example. You know, some of the folks were complaining or making the point at the last meeting that this estimate for this size pipe was wrong, it was too high or too low or whatever. These are all estimates. If their experience says, well, this should be $2 million instead of $3 million, it's like listing your house. The realtor tells you to list your house for $200,000, then you say, no, I'm going to list it for $150,000. Well, that's just dumb. Why not go after the maximum amount that's a reasonable request and try to get that funded? If there's no further questions, I'd suggest we take a minute to adjourn. We'll collect the board members on the stage and we'll conduct a board meeting. Was there one more question?
I talked to Colonial Estate last week. I get Linda LaVoy, I live on Jericho Bay. I emailed this director of Colonial Estate to see any information if they got any help through COBRA, just to find out if they got a push through from COBRA. He told me no, they did not go through COBRA, but they got more than what they asked for. Well, they got what they asked for, but the cost, they even had extra money, so they put it towards their development, the extra money that they needed. They don't want the money back, so they had to use it for their community. So the gentleman was very informative about it.
But, so that's where we started. I don't know who that was talking.
Linda.
I spent six months talking to Colonial Estate, the president there, and going through the, oh, hi Linda, sorry.
That was Linda
The
speaking.
whole thing with her, and she gave us the, how they went about this. They did get 3 million, they only needed slightly over 2, so they got all their roads done, they did not want the money back, all that's correct. So that's where we started, or I started 3 years ago with these discussions. And it was based on an example that is very similar to us, except they were on wells, but everything went according to plan. So that's why we're where we're at. They did not do USDA because it's such a complicated application to do, but we will because we're looking for more money. They're a much smaller community, just over 200 homes, so much smaller.
Okay. Okay, Joanne, do you want to kick off the meeting, please? Okay, Julie, we're ready to start. Why don't you go ahead and start the meeting?
Oh, sorry, Jack, I couldn't hear that again. You got the box in front of you too?
Yes, we do. Go ahead and start the meeting if you would.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order at 2:38. And we will do roll call because everybody's all over the place. So if everybody can just respond when I call your name. Jack,
Here.
Bob,
Here.
Ron,
Here.
Donnelly,
She's signaling by hand.
oh, she's doing my hand, okay. Barry, here, and Marcel.
Here.
Okay, great. Proof of meeting notice was emailed out long before the 48 hours, as well as posted in the clubhouse and office.
Yes.
One thing that's not on the agenda there, and I'll turn that over to you, Jack, is the minutes that we want to approve, so we can start getting these minutes out as quickly as we can from our last meeting.
Right. I just wanted to mention that the proof of meeting was the email that we typically do. They were posted in the annex twice here in the clubhouse, in the office, channel 3-1, and it was posted in the Palm Beach County Post on the 28th of April and the 30th of April, so it's got lots of coverage. What I would like to do is make a motion that we approve the minutes from our 7th April board meeting and also the hearing that was conducted on 7 April on the same day. Those meetings have been provided to all board members for the review, and literally no comments came back that there were to be any changes to be made. So I move that those minutes be approved as submitted. Ron is seconding.
Okay, so again, I'll just go through names, and if you can just tell me if you would agree with the minutes. So, Jack?
Here. Yes.
Bob?
Yes. Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Donnelly?
Yes.
And that's my C. Mary? Yes. Marcel?
Yes.
Okay, so unanimous approval of those minutes. The only item we're going to be discussing today is the adoption of the resolution related to the drinking water project. So, Jack, I don't know who do you want to have go through this? You're going to bring out to here on Zoom. I don't know if we're any clearer on Zoom in terms of hearing, or whether it's better to have somebody in the clubhouse read out the resolution.
Let me give it a shot here. I don't know. Can you hear me okay like now? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's better, whatever you just did.
Oh, okay, I've got the speaker or the microphone right next to me, so I'll go ahead and read this thing off. It's going to be a little lengthy, so please bear with me.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Whereas the Florida statutes provide for loans to local government agencies to finance construction of water facilities, and the Florida Administrative Code requires the formal authorization by Jamaica Bay Incorporated to formally adopt a facilities plan outlining necessary water system improvements to comply with the state of Florida funding requirements. Whereas formal adoption of the proposed facilities plan is required for Jamaica Bay to participate in the state revolving loan fund program. Whereas Jamaica Bay Incorporated agrees with the findings and the summary of the necessary improvements outlined in the facilities plan for the purposes of improving the water system. Now therefore be it resolved by Jamaica Bay that formally approves and adopts the drinking water facility plan as written and presented on this date. The foregoing findings are incorporated herein by reference and made a part hereof. Jamaica Bay Incorporated is authorized to approve the facilities plan. The president, or in their absence, other board member or director, is hereby designated as the authorized representative to provide the assurances and commitments that will be required by the facilities plan. The president, or in their absence, other board members or directors, is hereby designated as the authorized representative to execute the facilities plan, which will become the foundation of all activities related to the water system improvements. The president, or in their absence, other board member or director, is authorized to represent Jamaica Bay Incorporated in carrying out the responsibilities under this facility plan. The president, or in their absence, other board member or director, is authorized to delegate responsibility to appropriate staff to carry out technical, financial, and administrative activities associated with the facilities plan. The legal authority for the adoption of the facilities plan is pursuant to Jamaica Bay bylaws and the laws of the state of Florida. All resolutions or part resolutions in conflict with any other provisions of this resolution are hereby repealed. If any section or portion of a section of this resolution proves to be invalid, unlawful, or unconstitutional, it shall not be held to be invalidated or to impair the validity, force, or effect of any other section of this resolution. The resolution shall take effect upon its approval by the adoption by Jamaica Bay Incorporated. Approved and adopted this 29th day of May 2025.
Okay, so someone can make a motion to approve the resolution?
I move to approve the resolution as presented.
Seconded?
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion or questions on the resolution?
I have a question.
I won't be able to see there, Jack, so.
The date you mentioned was May 28th, today's the 29th?
Ninth.
You said 29th, you said 29th, all right, yeah, thank you.
Question answered. Ready to vote?
Okay, all set? All right, so voting. Jack,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Donna Lee,
Hands up.
and, okay, she said yes, okay. Mary? Yes. Marcel?
Yes.
And yes. So that is, again, unanimous. To adopt the resolution and the public resolution. And that's all we have to do today. So we needed to go ahead and get this done, so we can submit the proposal.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Sorry, what was that? We didn't hear.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Seconded?
Second.
Okay, all, show it hands, all in favor. Okay, thanks, everybody.